Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're diving into a book called The Art of Laziness. And I know, laziness, isn't that the exact thing we're all trying to fight? Well, hang on, because the whole idea here is that true laziness isn't about being a couch potato. It's about being so strategic, so smart with your energy that you only spend it on the things that actually move the needle. So let's just jump right in with a pretty heavy question the book hits you with right away. When you're 80 years old, what are you going to regret? See, this isn't really about productivity hacks, it's about your life, and the fact that you don't have forever to live it.
And to really put a fine point on that, think about this. The average lifespan is about 72 years. That works out to just 3,700 weeks. That's it. When you see the number laid out like that, it kind of makes you stop and think, how am I spending mine? I mean, if you're 30, you've already burned through about 1,500 of them. The clock is definitely ticking.
So what do people actually regret the most? Well, the book lists some of the big ones. Not going after what you really love, wasting an insane amount of time on, well, nothing, not spending enough quality time with your family, and just working your tail off for things that, in the end, don't mean a thing. These aren't just sad stories. They're warnings for us.
Okay, so you're staring down those potential regrets. Where do you even begin? The very first step, the foundation for everything else, is a massive shift in your mindset. It's time to stop blaming your boss, your family, your situation for where you are. The blame game officially ends right now.
And this quote from Churchill just nails it. The book argues that taking 100% responsibility for everything is the only real source of power you have. Yeah, complaining feels good for a second, but it doesn't change a thing. It's only when you own your actions and, just as importantly, your inaction, that you can actually start to change your life.
And every single day, you're faced with this choice. Our brains, they're wired for the easy path, sinking into the couch, endlessly scrolling through social media. But the better choice, the one that builds a life you won't regret, is almost always the harder one. It's going for that run. It's reading that book. The secret is to consciously start picking what's best for you, not just what's easiest.
There's this great little story in the book about a farmer. His crops were ready, and he told the sparrows in his field, "Oh, my sons will come harvest tomorrow." The sparrows didn't worry. The sons never showed. Then the farmer said, "I'll hire some workers to come tomorrow." Again, the sparrows stayed put. But one day, the farmer came out and said, "Tomorrow, I will cut the crops myself." That's when the sparrows knew it was time to fly away. The lesson is so clear. Nobody is coming to do the work for you. You can't rely on anyone else to build your dreams. So once you've accepted that it's all on you, the next job is to get inside your own head. You've got to break those mental habits that keep you stuck, that keep you saying, I'll just do it tomorrow. It's time to rewire that lazy part of your brain.
And this slide really shows the two places you can live. There's your comfort zone, and hey, it's a lovely place, it's warm, it's safe. But as the book points out, nothing ever grows there. Zero. Real growth, the kind that stops you from having those big regrets later, that only happens when you step out into the growth zone, when you do the hard stuff, the uncomfortable stuff, the stuff that actually matters.
This quote from Zuckerberg just hammers the point home. We think staying in our comfort zone is the safe bet, right? But in a world that changes as fast as ours does, playing it safe is actually the biggest gamble of all. If you don't adapt and grow, you're guaranteed to get left behind. Okay, so we've got the mindset on lock. Now let's get into the how. How do we actually do this? The book gives us an amazing toolkit of principles and rules you can literally start using the second this is over.
First up, a classic, the Pareto principle. You probably know it as the 80-20 rule. The idea is simple. 80% of your results, your successes, come from just 20% of your efforts. So the whole game is to figure out what your vital 20% is and pour all your energy there. Stop wasting time being busy with the 80% of tasks that give you almost nothing back.
Next up is something we have all felt, Parkinson's law. It basically says that work will always expand to fill the time you give it. You know how if you have all week to write a 2-hour report, it somehow takes all week? That's Parkinson's law. So what this teaches us is to set shorter, tighter deadlines for ourselves. It forces us to be efficient and cuts procrastination right off at the knees. The book also pulls in some really powerful wisdom from Japan. There's ikigai, which is this beautiful concept of finding your reason for being. It's that sweet spot where what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for all come together. And then there's kaizen, which is the philosophy of making tiny 1% improvements every single day. Now this might be my favorite, just because it's so simple and so effective. Think about all those tiny tasks we put off, answering that one email, tidying your desk. The 5-minute rule just slashes through all that. If you can do it in less than 5 minutes, just do it, right now. It completely prevents that mountain of tiny, annoying tasks from building up and overwhelming you.
And for building new habits, this is a total game changer. Look, it's okay to miss a day at the gym. It's fine to skip a day of writing. Life happens. But the 2-day rule is your safety net. The rule is never, ever miss 2 days in a row. This creates incredible consistency without demanding that you be a perfect robot. It stops one little slip-up from derailing everything. All right, we've talked about the mindset, we've talked about the tools, so now let's bring this all home with the one idea that fuels this entire philosophy.
Just let that one sink in for a second. This quote from Picasso is a direct challenge to every single excuse we have for putting things off. When you filter procrastination through that lens, the lens of your own life being finite, the decision to act on what really matters to you becomes sharp and clear and incredibly simple.
And really, that's the whole heart of the art of laziness. It's not about doing more stuff, it's about doing more of the stuff that counts. The entire goal is to trade in that mindless, soul-crushing, regret-filled laziness for a sharp, strategic, purposeful kind of action. It's about being productive, not just being busy.
And at the end of the day, it really all boils down to this. There's no perfect time. There never will be. The best time to start was probably yesterday, yeah, but the second best time is right now. Your life is happening as we speak. So stop waiting. Start living.